Hoka hey, Alita Army. Welcome to the Alita Livestream of March the 24th, 2023. What if Alita Battle Angel had been 3 hours? Where we discuss all things to do with the movie Alita Battle Angel, the source manga Gundam, and the greatly desired sequels. I am your host, the Muskogee Creek from Denver, Colorado. Actually, Littleton, Colorado, actually. And with me are Lee. He is from Fountain, Colorado. How's it going, Lee?
Not too bad. How about yourself?
Oh, pretty good, pretty good. And from Arvada, Colorado, we have Do Not Stand By. How's it going, Do Not Stand By?
Going well. How about yourself?
Oh, really good, really good. So we got the Colorado contingent on today, don't we? So that, yeah, I think Angelus, he has a hard time getting out of bed, I think, or he might be at work. I'm not sure about that, you know. So anyway, I'm going to put a link in the chat. If anybody wants to come on, you can just click on it and we'll pull you in here and you can talk about the, you know, what we would, well, we just talk about Alita, you know, basically. We're not limited to the necessarily just the, you know, just the topic, you know, it's been chosen here. I mean, if you just want to come on and say how much you like Alita or love Alita, that's great, you know. So anyway, that's where we are, and I guess to get things rolling here, pretty much, just to remind everyone, we've still got our sequel petition going, and we keep adding anywhere from 20 to 40 signatures a week. So it's kind of moving right along. Looks like we're starting to approach 178,000. Which is really good because I heard some news today about the Snyder Cut that they're having a big event where I guess they're, you know, kind of celebrating it. It's almost like I guess like a symposium or something. I'm not sure what it is, but you know, they definitely want a Snyder Cut version of Justice League trilogy. So that's going to be kind of interesting right there, I think. And they had 176,000, I think is where they ended up, signatures. So we've actually got more signatures than they do. And they not only got their Snyder Cut, but it's looking like they might even get a trilogy. So anyway, so hopefully we'll be in the offing for that, you know. And of course, we do know that Cameron Rodriguez, Landau, and our Queen Rosa, they all four of them want a sequel for Alita, you know, and I think Rodriguez even wants a series. So, you know, that's a positive sign. You know, if the Snyder Cut could get that, it's possible we can get this too. We can get our sequel for our girl, as they would say. And one other thing, I guess, if you haven't seen it already, is Avatar: Way of Water, and in just over 3 months, this movie has made $2.3 billion. It's number 3 on the all-time money-making list. And we've been kind of, you know, bringing this up every stream, I guess, but it is a really good movie. And it's still playing, I think, up here at the AMC 12 up here at Bowles Crossing near my house. It's still on, Avatar is. So it's been on for 3 months, you know, so people are still going to see it. So it's making money for Disney. So that's a good thing. So Lee, you haven't seen it yet, have you?
Afraid not, no. I really like to, but just haven't been able to get the time or money right now to do it.
Yeah. And what about you, Do Not Stand By? Have you seen it yet?
I still haven't seen it, but you know me, I'm really into 3D. So if it's not in 3D in the theaters, I'm going to wait for the Blu-ray to come out.
Yeah, I get it. You know, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I didn't see it in 3. Well, yeah, I did see it in 3D, as a matter of fact. I don't think it's in 3D now at the AMC 12. I think it's just standard format, you know. But yeah, I did see it in 3D when it, you know, I guess a week after it came out, and or maybe 2 weeks after it came out, and God, it knocked my head off. I can see why you like 3D for sure. Do Not Stand By, and certainly. Haven't seen Alita in 3D about 3 times now. Yeah, 3D is the way to go. There's no doubt about it. So anyway, just encourage everybody to, you know, go see Avatar: Way of Water. You know, I think I know a couple of folks that have seen it like 8 times, something like that. So, I mean, that's not like Alita, but, still, because if it was Alita, we'd all seen it about 20 times already, probably every weekend almost. So, yeah, we probably would have.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, I guess kind of moving right along. Let's get to the topic. What if Alita had been 3 hours long? What could they have put in there? And here are
the possibilities.
Oh, absolutely. Now here are the 5 that came up off the top of my head. Of course, her being a hunter warrior would be one. There's a gap in the movie, where Hugo asks her, tells her that Vector wants her to be in the second league, and there's a gap there where in the novelization, he trains her in the novelization, and that scene is pretty funny, or there's like 2 or 3, couple of scenes, I think, and or segments of the story, I guess, where she really, kind of tears up. Hugo and Tanji had a little track set up for training and playing and stuff like that. And she basically destroys it training. So, and so anyway, she, because she's super duper powerful for sure, in that, even in the doll body, but, what would that have been like, her training, Hugo training her? Because if you remember, there was that one scene in there where they're walking up to his cycle, and he tells her that Vector wants her to try out for second league, and she says, "I can't be a pro motorball player," and he tells her, "Hey, you could be the champion," and she of course says, "Well, only if you'll be my coach," So from that point to where she, is sitting in the locker room with Ito, Ito's putting her wheel feet on and stuff like that, there's probably at least I'm going to guess at least a month, probably, because she, even though she's, pretty powerful, and she's, she's able to do things that regular humans can't, she still has to be trained, because the cyborg she would be going up against, even in the second league, would have an advantage on her if she had no training, So
I think in the novelization, it took her somewhere around a couple of weeks, I think, to really be able to get the hang of enough motorball that she felt comfortable doing it.
Yeah.
So it did take some time, but I mean, she's already got really good balance and capabilities and all that. So probably wasn't too much different than, or the reflexes and whatnot needed probably weren't too much different than what she needs for her Panzerkunst.
Yeah. By the way, I want to get step back to the Avatar Way of Water. JM says he's seen it 14 times. So
yeah, I noticed that.
Oh yeah, holy moly, that's good, JM. Yeah. So yeah, good support there for that one. Also, Alita playing motorball in the second league. Now, I'm not talking about just the tryout, because we saw what was supposed to be a tryout, which turned out to be murder ball.
Yeah, it was an assassination attempt.
Yeah, that's right. But there was that period of time, and we'll get to this. I got some slides coming up after that. It was a period of time from then to when she sticks her sword or her Damascus blade, and kind of is threatening Nova, that, there's a period of time there. We'll get to that. Certainly she gets her own apartment, now that could be in that time space. I don't know how they'll write that in the movie. They might put that in the sequel for sure, but they could have put that in the movie too. Where her and Ito kind of that's not Guardians of the Galaxy.
That's a completely different character. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. But anyway, where they kind of have, I guess, a little bit of a disagreement, I suppose, her being a teenager and stuff like that, wanting to get out on her own for sure.
Well, the reason that she did in the manga, of course, was because of the pain of losing Hugo and everything. And she's trying to get away from all that and find or do something to try to find herself or find a new direction or something like that. And in the movie, it could be that she might decide that her presence is too much of a danger to Ito and her friends. And so she separates from them, trying to put some distance to keep them from getting hit with the fallout of whatever attacks come her way.
Yeah, that's right. Plus, she doesn't want to you know, it kind of, well, I guess I'm getting this from your story, but she doesn't want anything to distract Ito from treating patients to be her like tuner, you know. She doesn't.
Well, I
want to
actually
do that.
got that from what was it? I can't believe I forgot his name. Maxie's story. Yeah, he actually had that one chapter where I think it was in the motorball arena in the pit, and I think Joshigan stopped by and talked to Alita for a bit, and it got mentioned that Ito wasn't actually her tuner, and it was sort of mentioned in passing that so he could concentrate on helping the people in the community through the clinic.
Yeah, and I don't think Alita wants to. I don't think she wants to usurp that, or not usurp, but she doesn't want to impact that. I think, you know.
Yeah.
And of course,
it was also a good excuse for Maxie to have the pit team from the manga in his little novel.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And yeah, not just a pit team, but even assemble her own team too, you know, but which she does. Yeah. But anyway, and that, I guess the fifth bullet there, entertaining in the Kansas bar, you know, I mean, that would be, they could have put that in the first movie. You know, I'm not, you know, I don't know, not being just being an amateur movie maker myself, I don't know how they would have pulled that off, you know, because I think that would have kind of jumped outside the whole feel of it, you know.
I think with the trajectory she's on in the movie, it's a more direct route. I mean, in the manga, she was always searching to become her own person.
Yeah.
And seemed to be trying to find, you know, a place to fit in.
Yeah.
In the movie, she has a mission, a specific goal she's reaching.
That's right.
And she's not doing motorball to forget the loss of Hugo. She's doing motorball because it's an avenue for her to get to her objective.
Yeah.
So I think there's probably going to be a somewhat more direct path.
Yeah.
Where there's a little less of her going off to do other things.
Yeah.
I mean, there could still be some, you know, a little bit of that, but I think it's going to be more focused on her getting up to Zalem so she can confront an old enemy.
Yeah, that's right. Those are the 5 that I came up with. Is there anything else, Lee, you or Do Not Stand By can think of that I might have missed there that could have been in the movie if it had been 3 hours? Any thoughts? Because I know Do Not Stand By, you've aired this thing many times, you know, in outdoor viewing that you do, you know, in 3D. So is there any thoughts you had what could have been in there as well?
Yeah, for sure. Hugo needed more character development. That was a big complaint that
there could have been some more with that. Yeah,
that you didn't really get Hugo's backstory, so a lot of people didn't really care that much when Hugo died. So they could have adopted some of the backstory from the manga, like how his brother got killed, and how it was a tragic story of his brother wanting to go to Zalem, and he's continued the dream of his brother. So I think that could have been included and could have helped with people being more sympathetic to Hugo.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Well, that's the thing. They did actually have a backstory in the novelization. Only, unlike the manga, it was a bit different with the movie. It was his father basically worked himself to death for the factory, constantly replacing pieces of himself with more and more machinery until he finally died. And because of that, or I think that was one of the reasons Hugo was always trying to get away from Iron City and look to Zalem as this sort of like paradise to get to escape all of that. But the point being, they basically did have a backstory for him that just never got touched on really in the movie, unfortunately. If they had another hour or so, they could easily add a couple more minutes of dialogue that would have just, you know, helped flesh that out quite a bit.
Yeah. Yeah, and Everest Production says having a bigger role for Clive Lee.
Having a little bit of some of the Hunter Warriors, like McTeague and Clive Lee.
Yeah, because either one of them, I mean,
or both of them.
But they could have done both of them. Now, I think McTeague had a little bit more, you know, in the movie than Clive Lee did. Not much, you know, but certainly he's one of the helped save Alita type thing.
Well, Clive Lee only had like 2 lines.
Yeah, that's right. And well, really, McTeague only had
but he had more screen time too, though, because he was also up in the bar, and he followed Ito and Hugo down to fight Grishka down in the Undercity.
Yeah, I think he did that because he kind of knew that Alita was a dog person, I guess. So
at the very least, he knew that Grishka wasn't, and that seemed to be enough for him.
Yeah, that's right. Well, the fact that little dog came in the bar with Alita too.
And killed him in front of him. And Grishka killed him in front of him. Yeah,
so I think that right there, it kind of set McTeague off, I think.
No, there you go too. Have the back history, a little bit of background on Grishka and what he used to be before he became the champion of Nova, as it were.
Yeah. Now, putting all these backstories in a movie like that is going to make it a little confusing, Well,
that's the thing. It doesn't have to be too terribly
long.
Complicated or anything. Like I said, you just like 3 minutes and a few extra lines of dialogue could give a little bit of, can give quite a bit to fill out a person who otherwise doesn't have a backstory.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least not a visible one that the audience gets to see.
Yeah, so Grishka having a backstory. I think, another one would be Kanuba. In the manga, I guess. Well, he had a somewhat significant presence in the manga, and certainly in the I guess in the novelization he did as well. Because he was, he had won like 12 races in a row or something like that. And in the novelization, he was kind of screwing up.
The novelization did more to explain how it was exactly that he was screwing up the operation that Vector was running.
Yeah.
Winning when he shouldn't have and all that.
Well, the whole thing is that, they did kind of allude to it a little bit when he, Vector said, I don't want my guys losing unless I tell them to. And then he said, Kanuba's too strong with that new weapon. He's screwing up the odds, So you kind of got the idea why Vector wanted to get him,
Yeah, what they had did give a bit of an idea, but having a little bit where maybe there was a blurb where it's like his 12th or 20th win or something like that in a row. And it's like, there a lot of hype around it, like it's unprecedented, sort of would kind of cement that a bit too.
Yeah.
Which couldn't hurt.
And they could have done a little more with Joshagon too, I think.
Definitely.
Yeah, I mean,
there could have actually been more scenes with maybe Alita and Hugo making more than one visit and maybe extending the scene where they're watching a little bit of the motorball more than once, like they did in the movie, because they only had the one where they went in.
Well, I think in the novelization, they did have a little spot there where, Joshagon comes up to talk to Ito, actually, and Alita thought it was her that he wanted to talk to.
And she gushes over him.
Well, she's gushes and she's all fangirl and all that stuff type thing, and then she realizes that he was talking to Ito, and it kind of hurt her feelings, I think, and then
embarrassed her a little bit. I've been in that situation.
But anyway, he does talk to her eventually, and he was impressed with her and stuff like that. But it did kind of hurt her feelings, I think, which I thought was typical. A teenager going all fangirl over somebody like Joshagon, would be perfect.
On Alejandro's background of Alita's military training, I'm not sure that would really be necessarily the greatest idea. I mean, I would like to see it. Yeah. But as far as her sort of, slowly recovering her memories, maybe have one additional one. But I think that kind of thing would be, I would like to see more of that start in the second and third movies, where she starts really getting her memories back as she starts getting further in or closer towards her goal.
Well, I could see them maybe doing one more scene, kind of like the gravity chamber scene, her in basic training. Just very, very brief, just to further solidify the fact that she was in the military. I could see them doing that.
Well, seeing her in her 2 battles as well as the training scene, it seemed to do a pretty good job of cementing she was in the military and did receive some combat training as well as combat experience in some unusual environments. Because fighting on the moon is kind of an unusual environment. But
since having
more than that, I think it would probably work a bit better to keep a lot of that for it to become more frequent as the trilogy progresses. So in the second movie, you get like a bit more and maybe more lengthy, so you get more information from each one.
Yeah.
And then even further beyond that, and starting to find out more important pieces of information in the third movie.
Because there was one, in the movie where she confronts that centurion at the beginning when the centurion's about to step on that little dog, but in the novelization, she does have a flashback there, but it's very, very brief, and it's like she has very hazy images. They could have done something like that, although it might have detracted from that particular scene. But I mean, just something like her waking up, like before she wakes up at the beginning, maybe a little scene of her standing at attention or something at a training base, and then opening her eyes and boom, there she is, in Ito's biological daughter's bedroom, so I think that would have been certainly good enough, Jeff says he likes less flashbacks. You know what? I'm not a real big fan of dream sequences. I think they kind of, to me, it's almost like a continuity issue. I think there's a place for them, but I think you can overdo it. So yeah, he's got a good point on that.
That's what I was saying. Keep them a bit on the scarce side. But one of the things that Alita does have to do in the manga, she has to come to grips with who she used to be and the things that she did in her old identity as well. Because one of the things that I looked at too was when they were attacking Zalem in the flashback she had in Vector's office. One of the things that happened is when that supply tube got cut, that tube, the remains of it that wasn't connected to Zalem, hit the city and went right through one of those high-rise buildings.
Yeah.
And the city was lit up, like people were still there. So if there were civilians in that building, a lot of them, if not all of them, died in that.
Yeah.
So there were a lot of civilian casualties probably in that attack. And there's a good likelihood that Alita's unit may have been involved in a lot of that.
Well, I think in that case they were trying to get up to Zalem, and the defense ring kind of cut the supply.
Yeah, it was from that, but they wouldn't have had to do it if they had chosen another way of attacking, assuming they could have chosen another way. Regardless, during the war, civilian casualties happened, and it's a good bet that the Martian military was responsible for probably a good portion of those civilian casualties.
Yeah. And of course, Everest Productions also says, well, he said Grishka. Yeah, for sure. We talked about that. But Nova. Yeah, a little bit of a.
Actually, that would have been nice too. Having a little bit of Nova maybe doing stuff on Zalem while he's overlooking the city.
Yeah.
And maybe even having Bigot Eisenberg or some other character that fulfilled his similar role interact with Nova a little bit. Not a lot, just enough to get a little bit more of a taste of Nova.
Yeah. So anyway, that's a good catch too. I would have liked to seen a little bit more about Nova. Welcome, Chaos Nova. Speak of the devil.
Hello there.
How's it going? We were just talking about Nova, and you show up. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well,
cool.
Not exactly Nova though.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. So anyway,
so far he hasn't changed his mind about going by his real last name. Not necessarily a bad thing, but he doesn't like being called that. He doesn't like people knowing who he's related to.
He doesn't like being called Desty. Is that what you're saying?
No, he just doesn't want people to know that it's his father. And you know what the funny part of that in Volume 7 is that Alita doesn't like being called Yoko either, so it's even.
Yeah, Everest Productions also says, they did allude a little bit. Hugo did that there were like 12 cities or something like that when they were going to the ship, and then all of a sudden he says Zalem in the morning was the only one left,
well, yeah, I
kind of need to see some of that in there too, just a little bit more of an explanation. They don't have to go into a lot, but
the big thing is people coveted Zalem, but they didn't really think think about everything in it. I mean, even Vector's like, Hugo, you don't really have anything to take with you there.
Yeah, you
And
get
I
the
know
bottom of the food
Vector
chain up
was
there.
cheating him, but the point is still valid. Hugo didn't
Yeah.
have any plan as to what do you do when he got there, if even if you were.
Mhm.
Yeah. So anyway, I can't think of anything else because we got some slides coming up. We can go into more detail in those first 5 bullets.
I think I had a weird idea that they might have done this different. I mean, they might have had it so that, I mean, okay, this is a spoiler, but Arthur Farrell is the father of Destiny Nova through the G Project. What if the film was having it so that Destiny Nova was actually raised by Arthur? So it's different, but there's still the same kind of inheritance going on.
Yeah.
So Destiny Nova wants to go hunt for his kid because he finds out, yeah, your kid's a mutant and you kicked him out, but you kind of need him to get the codes to Excalibur. So we need to go capture him and get him back.
Yeah. You know, another thing I think they could have put if the movie was longer is they could have gone a little bit more into, I guess, not necessarily a backstory, but a little bit more of an explanation on Hugo and Tanji's jacking team. You know,
Yeah, a little bit more on Kayomi, Tanji, and Hugo's friendship and what they do.
Well, wasn't Kayomi implied to be helping them with their gig?
That was the original plan, but I think in the movie they decided to rewrite it so she wasn't really in on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I was just thinking too, that could actually be one of the reasons in the movies that Alita gets pulled into like the tuned program sort of thing, is that Nova wants to use her to hunt his son down, because what Chaos was talking about just kind of gave me the idea that maybe he is looking.
I'm going to have my next presentation about how Battle Angel Alita incorporates the whole myth of Excalibur into this story. That's my next presentation video, and I said some notes. I was late about it, but that's something that we could do, and I'd be willing to help people if they need to find pictures or video footage to include in their own presentation videos. I could help.
You mean like for the original manga with the Damascus blade kind of being the analog of Excalibur, right?
Oh no! I mean the inheritance part. I mean there's 2 scenes in the even in the original series that I just feel that Kishiro knew about the 1981 film Excalibur. I feel he had to have known. I mean, the fact that Den of Barjack is quoting that exactly when he's talking to Chaos, let us embrace, you are my father, and so on. It sounds like, there's some inspiration from the 1981 film Excalibur, which I do recommend. It's a great 1980s fantasy film. And it's part of what made me think about, researching the Excalibur in the manga series for this presentation.
I remember I saw that movie. My take on that movie, to me, at the time, it was kind of I won't say weird, but some of the scenes in it were kind of almost surreal. I mean, to me,
it's an acid trip at points. It is.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, the hunt for the Holy Grail is. I believe that's what you're talking about. That part is like what's real and what isn't.
Looks like Everest Productions is writing a sequel script, so that's cool. Way to go, Everest Productions. Yeah. Okay, well let's move to the first 5 here, and we can come back to talking about some additional stuff. If they put everything in the movie that we wanted that we would want to see, the movie would be 6 hours long.
Yeah,
I think so that wouldn't be workable. But I do think that a 3-hour movie to me is not a big deal. And I certainly enjoyed the Snyder Cut. It was 4 hours. Of course, they had it broken down into 6 separate segments.
Right. And they had chapter headings, which is good.
Yeah, that's right. Which kind of breaks things up, I think a little bit. But from the point of where you see Alita on the left there, where she's, it just came down from Hugo's apartment. No telling what they were doing up there. But anyway, but she was. she'd come down from his apartment with him, where she was kind of on his windowsill at that one point, to the point where she is on the right, raising her Damascus blade up towards Zalem. Maxie and I have had this discussion where, it's probably, there's some period of time now. Maxie seems to think it's like 2 months. I think it's at least 4 months. And the reason why I say that is because at this point on the right, she is the second league champion. And just judging, now this is an assumption on my part, but just judging from the length of seasons we have in sports now, let's say like minor league baseball or say college football or something like that, from start to finish, that is about 4 months long. Now, Major League Baseball and pro football are longer, it's for sure. But it's, for her to become a champion, she'd had to play through the whole season and play through the playoffs and win the playoffs. And I think the way Zalem would want to keep the crowds controlled, the way they wanted to do, I think, was it bread and circuses is what they called it?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I think it would be at least 4 months. That's just my opinion. So in that time period, right there, for where she is on the left and where she is on the right, there's a significant amount of time in there. Hello, good day, Angelus.
Okay.
Yeah,
I was just thinking, they said it was about a few months
Did it
when
hurt?
the end of the movie hit. It could be that it was about 3 months, but there was going to be the next month in the next movie where she's fighting through the playoffs to get to the rank up into Championship League.
Yeah, that's right. Because the announcer said in just a few months she's gone through the second league. So there's a period of months in there. It's not like all of a sudden
there was an extended period of time. There's some time, a good amount of time did pass.
Yeah, they certainly did. By the way, Angelus, how's it going down there in Brisbane, Queensland, Australia?
Pretty chill, but not like chillaxing, not weather-wise.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's I guess it's fall down there, isn't it? But at this point in time, down there, right?
Yeah,
I
don't usually really think that much.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I know we just had the I guess the what's it, spring solstice or whatever they call it, on March the 20th. So that would be for here it'd be spring, and down there it'd be opposite, since you're, kind of.
Yeah, so we'd be autumn. Yeah.
Yeah, that's autumn. That's right. We call it fall here sometimes. Yeah, autumn. Yeah, that's right. So, anyway, Angelus, you haven't.
What comes before the fall?
Oh, yeah, that's good. Yes. Well, we haven't gone too far. Then we kind of hit these topics here a little bit. We're going to go over them again, and then we talked about a couple others that we're going to revisit when we get to it. But at this point, all we're pointing out is that there is a period of time between where she's on the left there, where she actually, Hugo wants her to try out for the second league, and where she is on the right, where she is the second league champion, so that's a period of time right there, So it's not like she loses Hugo one day and then the next day she's a second league champion, because you might get that feeling in the movie where they did that time lapse photography. They don't tell you how many days there, but you might get the feeling that it's one day, and that she's just going, for just going to play in the Champions League. But of course, there on the left, Hugo tells Alita, that Vector wants her to try out for the second league, and the second league is not the Champions League. So, so she has to play her way through the second league and win the playoffs to get to the Champions League. So, and that was her on the right. That was just before her first match, in the Champions League. So, Okay. This is what I would also have liked to have seen if it was a 3-hour movie. If you remember in the manga, she does do hunter warrior stuff. There was that
quite a
one,
bit of it too. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there was that one little panel I remember saw where she was all happy and stuff like that. Had that sack with all those heads in it.
Mhm.
And that one head was coming down in there. Yeah, that's right. Everest Productions for sure. Yeah. He's saying that I guess. Well, he says the Snyder Cut's good, but he thinks that they probably could have cut some out of Avatar too. I guess so.
And
but
it still would have been the length of Avatar too.
Yeah, that's right. So, yeah, that's right. I kind of like the Snyder Cut though. To me, 4 hours had a lot of detail in it. Yeah, definitely did. So, but I kind of like that. But anyway. So anyway, they could have done something like this in the movie if they were going to extend the time on it, where she is actually doing hunter warrior stuff. And if you remember in Hugo's apartment, she said when he said she says, how much do you need before you can go? And he says $90K, and she says, oh, I could get that in bounties. Well, okay.
Have her do a bounty or two. Yeah.
Yeah, have her do a couple of them. In her case, I think she would have gone for what the other bounty hunters might have thought of as risky.
Mm-hmm.
But I think she would have gone for somebody like a murderer or somebody, that maybe had done some kind of theft.
High-priced, very violent, dangerous.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, have them interspersed with maybe she does a bounty, have some training with Hugo for Motorball, then do another bounty, and have some more training with Hugo and Motorball, and maybe some other stuff in there as well.
Yeah, and a little bit about her at this period of time right here. If they'd have done it, she would have still been living with Ito,
Mm-hmm.
And just kind of, how she lived there in Ito's place. She was Ito's daughter.
And we could have more with Gerhead too. So Gerhead could see some more development.
That's right. So that I think that would have been, I think I would have liked that, just to see further development of Alita, more development of Gerhead, and even as Ito as a father,
Mm-hmm.
I think that would have been real good, and see her collect those heads. That would have been, I think that would have been epic.
Yep.
So yeah. So any thoughts about this, guys?
Sorry about that.
That's all right.
I don't know, unless it wouldn't be too bad if she ended up competing against other bounty hunters too, and
There could be some of that too. Yeah.
Yeah.
and how they would circumvent the hunter law.
Yeah. Yeah.
There'd definitely be a bit of that going on.
And it would also be like other bounty hunters, like I guess mentioning her interaction with them. In the anime, there's that one scene where Clive Lee says, "You've beaten me to every bounty," and now he made that statement. There's Chaos is back. So
I went out of range for a little bit. Some of these forest areas are kind of a dead zone.
But
then there's not that many people in the forest, so it happens.
Yeah. So are you doing a hike now or something?
No, I'm literally transmitting mobily to you.
Oh.
I'm on a long drive for work, so might as well be less boring.
I thought you were actually doing your radio thing from the Badlands. So anyway. Yeah. So because that's what Chaos did, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Well,
anyway,
I'm just driving a hatchback, not an RV, but it works.
yeah, that's right. So anyway, I think we could see a couple of things like that. We could even see her, we could see some more interaction with Zapan here too, couldn't we? I mean, he's pretty pissed at her at this point.
Oh yeah, have them start antagonizing each other a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yes.
Although he would be wise to stay clear of her.
Yeah.
If he can, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Because I mean, she only kicked his butt twice, you know.
Oh,
so-
he could be one of the bounty hunters. She ends up racing to a bounty and she beats him to the punch.
Yep.
He'd really love that.
Yeah, he would. So yeah, I think if the movie had been 3 hours, this would have been great. You know, seeing her actually doing her bounty hunter thing. You know.
Yeah.
You know, trying to. You know, she could have done it too while helping Hugo. As a matter of fact, you know, I mean, Hugo could have been in this. You know, so her saying, "Well, I'm gonna collect a couple of bounties just in case." You know.
Oh, even have a scene where she and Ito are actually working together to take one down. You get to see
kind-
Ito as well doing a bit more of his own bounty hunting.
Yeah, kind of like in the anime, right? Because they were a team in the anime.
Oh, and the manga too, I think.
And the manga, yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, see them take down a real dangerous cyborg, you know. Maybe that cyborg that, well, they wouldn't take down that cyborg that messed Jason up because she did that by herself. So anyway. But yeah, that'd have been real cool to see her and Ito working as a team, you know. Because she does want the clinic to stay open. And, you know, I could see her wanting to help. Well, she did want to help him, you know. She said, we could be a team, you know.
And I could see her doing a couple of different objectives with that. One being helping the community by hunting down dangerous criminals that are preying on the community, as well as helping Ito keep the clinic open by using the money to help fund the operation.
Mm-hmm. So going after bounties, and we could learn a little bit more about how bounties are collected. We had that pretty good scene though, where Ito, you know, puts Nisiana's head on that platform, you know. But we could have got a little bit more out of that, and Alita, you know, doing a similar thing, taking a couple of heads in there, you know, to collect money or something like that. That'd have been good. Yeah, I think. Whoa, what's going on there? I hear something in the background. Sounds like
I'm just having it's the road's bumpy, you know, it's the woods road, you know, the woods roads, they have, you know, the last place to get filled up with when it comes to potholes.
Yeah.
I mean, hardly anyone drives over them, so it happens.
Yeah. You kind of got to dodge them, don't you?
Yeah. But this is just all Bluetooth for me.
So any other thoughts about this, about any other, you know, hunter warrior, Alita being a hunter warrior related scenes that would be kind of cool?
I do feel that the part where, you know, Zapan becomes the bounty is kind of the key here.
Okay.
Well, I think that's something
where he put the head in the soup.
Well, I think that could be the part where that happens in the second movie, where he sort of comes back as the threat that she has to deal with in that one.
Right.
While she's also making her way towards, you know, her final champion to get to Zalem as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts? I'd like to see more interactions with Clive Lee. And more interactions.
Clive Lee and McTeague both are seem like some pretty good fan favorites that either one of them or both of them having more to do in the movie.
I think Clive Lee would be more neutral in the movie. He was kind of wanted to kill her in the anime, but you know, in the movie.
Well, he wanted Hugo, but she was getting in his way.
Yeah, that's right. And McTeague though, or Murdoch, whichever you prefer. I could see him really, you know, warming up to Alita because she is a dog person. He's a dog person, and he did rescue her in a movie and stuff like that. So I could see them. I wouldn't say
maybe she stops by the Kansas bar at one point, maybe even possibly to try her hand. Like we see the first time she tries her hand at doing like maybe some singing in the bar or something like that. And maybe they exchange a few words or something just to, you know, show how they're on, not necessarily on friendly terms, but at least on amiable terms.
Yeah.
But yeah, Clive Lee, I don't think he would be anything more than just sort of a neutral party. Sort of like she's there, I've got my own thing I'm doing, sort of thing.
Well, I could see her being friends with McTeague, though. I mean, being a dog person, that I can see him warming up to her.
Yep.
They could also bring back the dog that became a cyborg after Grishka wounded him, and have him join McTeague's army of dogs.
Are you suggesting that dog is Fury?
Well, not Fury so much, because that little bitty stray, he wasn't big like Fury, I don't think. But
no, he was pretty tiny. That's what I was saying. Have him be a little lap dog that maybe McTeague.
Well, he doesn't have. Oh, I guess. Yeah, never mind. It was just a head on a body, but
Yeah, that's right.
Cyborgs can get really big.
They could transplant the brain into like a larger body, so there's no limit on that. But
yeah. I think they would have done well. Now, there's different opinions on this, but as far as the little dog goes, if they had to put that one scene of him jumping out of that box in the cyborg body, if they had made that a post-credit scene, I think that would have soothed some people, that kind of didn't like the dog being killed in the movie. I think that would it have taken away from the story, because the story is, I mean, it's not as dark as the manga, of course, but it's not a happy, well, it is kind of happy if it's got Alita in it, for sure. But I mean, it's not that kind of movie, I guess.
Not a very bright or cheery type thing.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Especially at the end, Alita, not just losing Hugo, but she is definitely manga Alita in that at the end in Vector's office. Mm-hmm. I mean, she's not the happy-go-lucky little teenager, and the little girl in love and stuff like that. I mean, at that particular scene, she's pretty damn serious, in that scene. The look on her face when she's holding that blade up to his head, her eyes are, well, I don't, to coin a phrase, her eyes were wide open, looking at him, Yep. I went, oh man, that's bad news right there, Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that. Justice for the dog. Yeah, that's right. I love it.
Actually, wasn't that a post-credit scene, or am I just imagining things?
I thought it was.
No, it wasn't. They didn't.
Oh, put deleted it maybe.
Yeah, it's a deleted scene, and they. Was it on the DVD? Was it on the DVD as an extra?
Yeah, it's the DVD.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, I knew I'd seen it somewhere. Just couldn't remember where.
Yeah. Yeah, I think they would have. I guess all the people that bought the DVDs have seen that scene, and now they probably feel a little better about it. But I think the people that saw it in the movies, not seeing that little dog, come back, I mean, that probably. Probably pissed off dog lovers,
yeah.
So.
I mean, as much as I did think the scene was cute and did like it, I don't mind if the dog has been killed, because it did sort of like with what Garushka was saying with there's no room in Iron City for innocence. Yeah. Basically, it sort of highlights just how stark and brutal life in Iron City can be.
I will say one thing for that little dog, though. You remember Grishka said this himself, the only one with courage. Mm-hmm. And that dog was the only one, except for maybe Alita. Well, Ito, too, I think. Mm-hmm. They certainly weren't afraid of Alita. Definitely wasn't afraid of Grishka, for sure.
Ito was willing to stand up to him.
Yeah. So I mean.
And mostly I think that was because he was going to try to help protect Alita.
Yeah. So, yeah. Any other thoughts about Bounty Hunter Alita? She looks too cheery in that picture to be a bounty hunter, doesn't she?
Well, she's happy she's finally a bounty hunter.
Yeah, that's true.
She just got the card. It's only the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah.
I see rebellion there as well. Rebellion against Ito.
Yeah. Is that something you encounter sometimes? Do not stand by.
Oh yeah, for sure. All the time.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Zapan said, so you went down, you filled out your application, and now you're just like us.
Mhm.
And I guess in her mind, yeah, I'm just like you, except I'm better than you. So, that would be the thought in her mind, I guess. They replace that ID card with a pregnancy test.
An
Oh,
interesting
boy.
choice.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Although I don't think Alita can get pregnant in that
No,
body anyway. So,
that would be interesting though, if the
not.
nanotechnology were so advanced, it could somehow replicate all aspects of a biological body like that.
well, I think the Berserker body might be able to do it.
That's what I
perhaps.
mean. The berserker. Well,
And
yeah,
that-
it doesn't have the
and-
berserker body there, but yeah, with the
Yeah.
berserker body.
And definitely the Imaginos body, could probably do it. So,
Mhm.
of course, that way, yeah, you're right, Jay. That'd make the movie R-rated.
Definitely R-rated, yeah.
For sure.
Even without the bloodshed.
That's right. Okay, what about this one? Motorball training with Hugo. Now, like I say, there was that in the novelization.
Mhm.
There's that scene where she just basically tears up Hugo's and Tanji's, practice track, and she just obliterates it. And Hugo's worried that what's going to happen when Tanji finds out, he's going to know what happened, So,
Yeah.
be kind of
Which
neat.
of course wouldn't endear her to Tanji any more than it already did, yeah.
Yeah, he's already kind of pissed
Disliking
at
her.
her, although he started it,
Yeah. Well, it also, I
Right.
think there might even be a bit of a reason as to why it is that he's got his own hard feelings towards cyborgs. I mean, the novel, at least, unfortunately, the movie doesn't. But
Yeah.
the novel explains some of Hugo's reasoning.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's ever really much told about why Tanji feels the way he does. If it's just a simple prejudice he's got, or if there's some sort of
Well, with
underlying
Hugo
reason.
alone, we know that it just reminds him about how his father died. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. Well, in the movie, he does say, after Alita kind of puts him in his place, he's laying on the ground and, Hugo helps him up. And he says, your freak girlfriend's got a major malfunction,
Mhm.
So you can tell he thinks she's a freak. So you know that going in just from that one line right there,
Yeah.
Okay, Everest probably think a 3-hour movie could have benefited was a little more Hugo aspiring to go to Zalem. Yeah, that's right. And telling Alita, and her telling Alita his brother's backstory. Yeah, that's right. That definitely could have been as part of this, and that could have been kind of like a little mini arc in it too, couldn't it?
Yeah. Well, that's
yeah,
something else. They could have had a
Everest
scene
said,
with-
in the Alita's World, Iron City, it's in the special features of the DVD. Hugo said it was his father, not his brother, like the manga.
Yeah.
But yeah, something else I could have had too was Alita sitting around with Hugo, Tanji, and Kiyomi, and the four of them basically just sort of hanging out and maybe talking a bit at like a restaurant or whatever hangout it was that they frequented.
Well, it wouldn't just be them either. It could have been that
some
guy
of the other
Biff
people as well.
Yeah, Biff, the guy with the dreadlocks, and there was a couple other guys, that she'd just be hanging out with them.
Mm-hmm. It showcase a little bit more of what it's like for average citizens in Zalem, Iron City. Sorry.
Yeah. Although they might be tempted to try to jack her, which would be a mistake.
I don't think that they seem to be pretty careful about making sure their identification was hidden. Their identities were hidden with masks and stuff.
Well,
and also like Ito was saying in the book, at least. I don't think he said in the movie. I think it was in the novelization that when Gerhard was getting her new arm from him when she was going to work with him.
Yeah.
He did tell her that it wasn't going to be a problem for her to have the arm because no matter how fancy it was, people knew better than to mess with his stuff.
Yeah.
Anything that he made, people knew better than to mess with.
Yeah. And that would have extrapolated over to Alita too.
Yeah. So if they knew that she was his patient and associated with him, then they would have steered clear of jacking her body.
Yeah. Yeah. Everest Production said you should have jacked her when we had the chance or something like that. Well, Yeah, I don't think that was going to happen because for two reasons. Number one, Hugo, at this point had already started having feelings for her, so that wasn't going to happen. Plus, number two, it's like you're saying, Lee, nobody's going to mess around with Alita like that because her body is a piece of work of art, rather, that Ito actually did, so nobody's going to mess with it. They're just not.
That was actually something else they probably could have added too, was an indication that Ito had gotten a bit of a reputation in some capacity or other, where people didn't mess with stuff that he provided because he had somehow gotten the reputation as someone you just don't cross, or he was just,
or some people knew he was a hunter warrior.
Yeah, I mean, that could be part of it. Yeah.
Plus, he also, go ahead.
I was going to say, he could have gotten a fearsome reputation either because some people had figured out he was a hunter warrior out there.
Yeah.
And of course, the other hunter warriors would know, but it may not necessarily have been, widespread. But it could be widespread enough that people knew that if you jack his stuff, he might come looking for you.
Yeah, that's right.
On behalf of his patients.
Plus, we got a feel for that too in the Kansas bar fight, right? When he said, knock it off or no more free repairs, and everybody stopped dead in their tracks. So, okay, we're going to stop fighting now. So, because they knew, they relied on him, So he did have a measure
of people's keeping themselves together in the community.
Yeah, we had a measure of respect there too, So, yeah, for sure. It would be neat to see this motorball training scene, though, where seeing Hugo explain the different techniques to her and her doing them. That would have been, kind of like
a bit of a training montage, like what they had in Rocky.
Yeah, and I guess Angelus, you could talk to that a little bit, right? Because when you take martial arts, you don't know those techniques. You have to be shown by a sensei or a teacher, instructor. And then you have to practice it, so, or if it's a kata, let's say.
She's got repressed memory, so is it really training as much as remembering?
Well, if it's motorball, it's going to be some different moves. I mean, she still got the discipline and everything from the training she has had, so it can carry over to motorball. But motorball would add another layer of stuff that she would be learning.
Add in the aspect of being a natural athlete. And
Well, she's definitely a natural athlete, that's for sure. But
maybe unnatural athlete, considering
that's right,
entirely prosthetic.
That's right, because we've had, I guess, way back when we had a stream where we were asking the question: is Alita a metahuman? And we had 2 or 3 different opinions about that. The Creek thinks she's a metahuman because she's a lot like Cyborg. In the DC, and they consider her a metahuman. But at the very least, we all agreed that she was an enhanced human. At the very least.
I think there was also that stream too that asked the question: would she be considered disabled? Because basically, her entire body is a prosthetic, a very capable prosthetic, but
Well, that's right. Do not stand by had to leave early. So anyway, he left a message in the private chat. So that's cool. So would have liked to have said bye to him, though. It's not, I'll send him a DM. So, but it would be kind of cool to see that training scene in the novelization, and they did actually have a deleted scene there. Because I think Raul Gola had it on his website or on his YouTube channel, where in the novelization she tells Hugo, Hugo puts her her wheel feet on her, takes her feet off and put the wheel feet on, and she's skating around, and she tells him, when he has this 2x4 and he says, when I come around, I want you to really hit me. I want you to give it all you got. He's kind of hesitant to do it, but he's afraid of her. So he's going to do it, and, she comes skating around. He goes to hit her and she blocks it, with her arm, I guess, and jumps on top of him. They kind of tumble over and she's up over him, about to punch him, So, and he's like freaking out, like, holy crap, like that. And he said, did that bring back anything? And she says no, and she kind of breathes a sigh of disappointment, that would have been a neat scene to see in a movie, had the movie been longer, to see that scene and to just see her skating around that practice rink that Hugo and Tanji had set up in the novelization. That would have been a really cool thing, I think.
Yeah.
Any other thoughts about this there, Angelus or Nova? Or Chaos, rather. Chaos Nova.
Well, in the movie, isn't Hugo dead by then?
No, not before she's tried out for the second league. I mean, that's what the training was all about. He was trying to teach her motorball because she was going to go, she was going to train. She was going to be in that tryout for the second league, which turned out to be, murder ball or an assassination attempt. But they didn't know it at that point. He didn't die until after that, So at this point in time, he's alive, and they could have showed scenes of him being a coach, and we could have got a real feel or a better feel for just how athletic Alita is. Although we got a pretty good feel for that just in the two fight scenes she was in, or three actually.
Yeah, I think they showcase that pretty well. But with the other scenes that are maybe doing a little bit of other bounty hunting, you could get a little bit more of that as well. And the practice scenes could also showcase that. So you get lots of examples of that, I think.
Yeah. So that would have been neat, seeing her practice, seeing her learn the techniques and then practicing them. That would have been kind of cool, I think. And then, of course, tearing up Hugo's and Tanji's, practice track. That would have been nice to see. That would have been hilarious, probably.
Yeah.
And Hugo getting afraid, oh shit, Tanji's gonna kick my butt when he sees this. Because he knows Tanji's not gonna kick Alita's butt. He knows that. So he's gonna be the one that's gonna catch the brunt of it, I think.
Yep.
Any other thoughts about this one, guys? Okay, here's one we kind of talked about. This goes beyond just the practicing of it. She is actually in the second league motorball.
Yeah, working her way up to the league.
Season. Yeah,
Right.
And they could kind of do this like they did that movie Rollerball. Rollerball.
Right, James Caan.
Yeah, that's right. They had 3 matches, although the last one wasn't really a match. It was more of a mayhem, I think. But, well, even the second one was pretty tough, But they could take her through, whatever, kind of challenges she would have or something like that, playing against professional, be it second league professionals, but still they're professionals, second league motorball players. Just her getting the experience and getting better and better, and maybe going through the final match with whoever in the playoffs, who she plays, one-on-one, I guess, after that. That'd be kind of neat to see, I think. We would really get a sense of her, getting better and better at it. We'd get a sense of her, how she learns and what she does to counteract different, techniques and stuff like that. I think that'd be pretty cool, I think. Any thoughts about this one, you guys?
Yeah, I just think there would end up being a time limit to some extent.
Yeah, you could
have.
You couldn't do the whole season,
plots.
right? Yeah, if you had like 12 or 14 matches in the season, you couldn't have that, and then maybe a four match playoff. You couldn't do something like that in that period of time. But they could get a couple of matches in, I think. Maybe her first match, and then some montage of different matches, and then her being in the playoffs. Something like that. For the second league. Thoughts?
Yeah,
Yeah, I just
dead
see it as
dead.
being peripheral in the
Yes.
grand scheme.
Yeah.
I mean, they could. One of the things they could do is if they actually want to make video games, is make a motorball video game because you could do more in that.
Yeah, you could have a whole season in a video game for sure, and then you could have playoffs. Yeah, you could do
Combination racing and martial arts fight 'em.
that. Yeah,
I mean, the game, the motorballing is already a mini game within Martian Memory, where you
Yeah.
actually, you start off trying to smash everyone to get the ball, and then it later gets more interesting because you have to like jump over pits and not go off the edge out of bounds.
Angelus, you were going to say something, right? What were you going to say?
Hugo's definitely dead by then, isn't he? Or is it still?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, once she's in the actual
Second
League.
league.
he was killed by
gone.
Nova. Yeah.
He's gone ski.
So she could have flashbacks on that to Hugo,
Hmm.
And I think she'd still be learning about herself too.
Mm-hmm.
I think she'd probably have flashbacks to her time in the armed military.
Yeah.
Because, when she gets into conflict like that or combat, she kind of, it kind of brings on one of those memories, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of which, what if the whole part of Zalm's genetic purity was they sided with those vampire guys in defeating the and then they just killed them off to make sure they didn't get double crossed?
Oh, killing the vampires off?
Yeah, what if they allied with the vampires to kill the and then they just killed them to prevent a double cross?
Well, I think that would be more of a prequel thing, wouldn't it? I mean, the is
Yeah,
not
it would
around,
be.
They wouldn't be around at this point. I mean, they may be around,
but then we don't know.
Yeah, we don't, because it'd be
There's a lot that needs to be revealed.
Well, if the was
my hypothesis is that it may just not be the it may just be a different government at this point because it's way after. So it's you might have something like the I don't know, the monarchy you have in the manga now, just because it's a defeated state, so they just have, I don't know, a new type of interim government.
Well, I think what would happen on Mars, I think Mars would be in the same shape that Earth would be in. Earth was kind of a desolate, dystopian kind of mess, and I think Mars would be the same thing because they both kind of damaged each other so badly that they couldn't continue to fight. So there's probably there may be, maybe not an but like you say, there may be still some residual civilization hanging on by its fingernails on Mars, I think. Kind of like on Earth, I mean, think about it. Who would want to live in Iron City like today? If any one of us, would we want to live in Iron City? I don't think I would.
I mean, it depends. When I was young, I enjoyed living in Kansas City. I'm living a little different now, but things change. In today's world with online business, you don't necessarily have to live downtown anymore. That's the scary part.
Yeah. But in
Iron City, a lot of people, if you want a large customer base, it used to be that you had to kind of live there, but now you can live miles away and still do online business to a large customer base.
Yeah, but I think
besides
a lot of
having
that,
to do a couple trips to check.
Yeah, but at this period of time, though, I think the infrastructure for networks and stuff like that has probably been damaged so badly that the internet's probably not what it was, if there is any at all.
Well, that's the thing, is that the internet is a kind of networking where as long as there are some computers in the network, it functions. Not necessarily at full functionality, but it does.
Yeah, that's right, because that's what a network is. It's just a collection of computers connected together. So,
there's different kinds of networking. Some networks have a central computer that if it fails, but with the internet, it's literally that if it's like a hive, okay? If some computers, every computer is a kind of server, and if there's some computers that work, the internet works. Not necessarily as good as it, but it can.
Oh, That reminds me of that scene in, I guess in, was it the Age of Ultron, where Tony Stark goes to the internet nexus? There ain't no such thing. So,
Right.
I mean, there's some big servers around and big mainframes that are hooked up to the
Right.
internet, but there is no one single point of failure like that, for the whole internet.
Right.
So, yeah. But my
But
feeling is,
what I think is happening though is there could be like a lot of fear because the mutants may be a thing in this world, like the mole people and so on, and people might be, the mole people might eat you if you leave Iron City or something.
could be. Now I do know in Lee's fanfic, there are farms that are located way away from Iron City. And if you look at that backstory on the DVD, I guess it was, they do talk about communities of humans, living here and there, but they're very disparate, they're not like Iron City. I mean, Iron City's more organized, if you think of it, than these villages would be, So, and of
Well,
course,
it wasn't. I thought it was near the coast, or was I not seeing the film the right?
yeah,
right,
I think, well, I think
right the
Iron
right
City.
way.
Yeah, I think Iron City and Zalem are near the coast. Although you don't get that feeling in the movie.
Well, in the manga, it was that they had the major rivers, so
yeah, that's right.
It was the rivers
Yeah, that's
in the
right.
Missouri area, so it works.
Yeah. Although there's no mountains in Missouri. Well, yeah, there is too. There is some mountains down the
There are
south.
mountains in the Panama Peninsula, but
Yeah.
I don't know. I have to look at where they are.
But that whole thought about
Panama
Kansas,
Isthmus, not peninsula, isthmus.
Isthmus, yeah. But that whole thought about, really Iron City was really Kansas City at one time. No, there's no mountains around Kansas City. And I think it's going to take
Right.
more than 300 years to build a mountain. So, anyway,
Yeah, but the whole Tafaris was Tigris and Euphrates because you have the rivers coming together around St. Louis or Kansas City.
yeah. That's the first time I ever saw the movie, and I saw those mountains. To me, it reminded me of Denver. I thought, oh shit, that's Denver. But no, it isn't. Not
Just
really.
for the hell of it, I looked up Iron City. I looked up
Yeah.
location of Iron City just out of curiosity without
Yeah.
specifying Alita Battle Angel.
Yeah.
I got Iron City, Georgia.
Oh,
Yeah.
holy crap! I have to go there sometime. Well, there is a.
But you've already been to Iron City, haven't you?
Well, I've been to the gate. They wouldn't let me in. There is a Denver, North Carolina. You know that?
Huh.
Yeah. Okay,
Denver,
Everest
Colorado
Productions thinks Iron City was in Texas. Yeah, it's in Austin. That's where the studio is. I know because I tried to get in. They wouldn't let me in. So, the security guard was real nice. He was. He was a good guy. But man, we can't let you in. I'm sorry.
I think the Iron City, Georgia was basically a steel mill town.
Mhm. Hell, who knows? We go to Iron City, Georgia. We might see Zalem up there. You never know.
Mhm.
Yeah, probably not. So yeah, it'd be kind of neat to see Alita actually playing as a professional. One thing you could do, you could see the transition or her transition, if there would be one, of her being a pro motorball player, transitioning to that from being a hunter warrior. If she did it, or she might do both at the same time. Who knows? To make money. So. Okay, any other thoughts about Alita playing in the second league? I could see her losing, say, 1 or 2 matches at the very beginning, and then after she gets, or sea legs, if you want to call it that, if she gets, more adept at playing, professionally, then winning like 10 matches in a row or something like that, and then getting to the playoffs. And then winning the playoffs, I could see something like that happening. So they could have her lose a match or 2 at the beginning, and you say, "Oh man, she's not going to do very well." Put a little suspense in it, and then all of a sudden she starts winning.
Mhm.
So yeah, that would be kind of neat, I think.
on the reverse side, you could have the like the flip the script on the scrimmage, and or not even flip the script, so to speak, just have it on a larger stage, because obviously she got smacked down by Tanji, and even though he should have had an elbow twice the size of it from the bruise, but
Yeah, but she'd have. I'm pretty sure she's got added weight. The fact that she's what, metal or plastic.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, but yeah, you could have her get like manhandled during a match, but still come out the winner. It's like, all right, that's how you want to play it. Get down and dirty, similar to what she did to Chanji.
Looks like Destinova wants to meet Alita real soon, he says. That's neat. Yeah. And two, I think too, Angelus, is that Tanji episode, that's before she even thinks about getting in the second league. That's street motor ball right there. And even though she had no training whatsoever in that, except barely learning how to skate at that point, she looked pretty unsure of herself when Hugo was, skating her up, I guess, to the starting line. Even with no training, she made him look like a chump at the end. So,
yeah.
Let's see. We got a question. Does some Hunter Warder need a facelift? Did the band?
No, he's just trolling us.
Yeah, he is. I wouldn't call that a facelift there, Destinova. Dr. Destinova. That was more of that wasn't a facelift. That was more of a face drop, wasn't it? So, just to remind everybody,
yeah,
right
but
here.
it was he got a plastic face after Alita wrecked that one.
Yeah. You got the feeling that would have been an expensive thing too, that having his face the way it was. So I could see why he'd be pissed at Alita, although he started it.
Yeah.
So
that's something I've been thinking about. Like Alejandro pointed out, she could end up making another trip back to the ship and finding out some more information as well.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's a good point. And it looks like we got Lord Crit from Everest Productions. How's it going there, Lord Crit?
Hello. I would have joined earlier, but I was busy doing something. So
not a problem, man. Not a problem. So anything else on Alita? Anybody on playing in the second league?
Well, I said like a montage of her playing. I'm trying to think how it would fit though.
Yeah.
In the narrative.
Well, it would fit between that time. If you remember back here, we had, I guess, right here. It'd have to fit in this 4 months somewhere, which the 3-hour movie, you'd have to have some, kind of perspective of what the passage of time in a very short period of time like that. That would be difficult to pull off, I think. Although I have no doubt that Rodriguez and Cameron could do it. But, looks like we lost Destiny Nova or something. Chaos Nova, rather. There he is.
I'm here.
Yeah. Yeah, I think any motor
I'm just
ball.
not on the road anymore. It's okay.
Yeah. Oh, I see. Okay, so you just got home.
Yes, now I'm home.
Okay. Yeah, I think it would have to be fairly short. Maybe 20 minutes tops. If we had a 3-hour movie, I think 20 minutes might even be a little long, perhaps. Not if we wanted to see these other stories in it.
Yeah. For if it's like a extended edition, I could see it. Yeah. The thing is, it kind of detracts from Hugo's sacrifice because I think that's the fitting ending for the Alita movie. So adding another 20 minutes on that diminishes that whole bit. So
yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think you're right about that. So Okay. What about this one? This would have happened after Hugo's death too. So
yeah,
this would have.
Yeah, like
I
was
could see it
mentioning
as
before,
something that goes on during the motor ball and just or temporarily goes back to Ito when things get wrecked, I guess. But then I don't know.
Yeah, like I was saying, with if she decides that maybe her being too close to people is putting them in danger, she decides to distance herself from her family to make them less likely to get hit by fallout from anything directed at her.
Yeah. Plus, when she gets that apartment, she'd be in a civilian body, so it'd be another body. So
unless she was doing the same thing she did in the manga, where she basically, just like in Maxi's fanfic, where she stays in her motorball body
and just
doesn't get out of it. Yeah,
and
just changes the feet out.
Feet every time. Yeah. She could do that. For sure.
Well, you can also see that in the sequel, where at the beginning she's like really depressed, and it's just gotta do motorball, gotta get it, gotta get to Nova.
Still dealing with the loss of Hugo.
Yeah, but how do you feel about the fact you kind of took it off because it reminded her too much about Hugo dying?
The Berserker
in the manga. Yeah,
that's kind of the catalyst for the whole Zapan arc, which I think will be the climax of the sequel or the last hour, I think.
Yeah. We'd also see at this point where her and Ito have a little bit of a falling out, I guess, because Ito is now, at some, well, I'm not sure about exactly where this would fit, but at some point, even when she has that apartment, she has that big poster, I guess, of Joshigan in her apartment, and finds out later that Ito is Joshigan's tuner, and that's gonna.
Well, that's the thing. That also is tied to the specific storyline of the manga.
Yeah,
with things changed in the movie the way they are, it's more that she feels Ito's talents are better put elsewhere when she's got access to other tuners. And also, it could also feed into the fact that maybe she doesn't want to stay too close to people she cares about because she may feel that it puts them in danger. It could tie into that, or something like that.
It'd
or
be
maybe, well, go ahead.
Yeah, it could be a combination of some of those things. I mean, they could play on all of those little.
It doesn't have to be simple. It could always be a bit more complicated.
Yeah, for sure. And it would be kind of neat too with her that you could have Joshigan. Now, remember, she's not going to be playing in an extended movie. She's of Alita 1. She's not going to be in the Champions League, so Joshigan would not have a prominent role. But if she had a poster of Joshigan up in her apartment, and maybe as her playing in the second league, she encounters him from time to time, because they're all sharing the same locker room and stuff like that. You could kind of work that in too, I think, to a degree.
The
Yeah. Well, one thing about this, shuffling the storylines around, you could do that. But to your point, Lee, I think that they've kind of expended everything. They kind of did rely on the anime quite a bit, and they added the motorball from the manga, and maybe it was certainly that it was true to the manga for sure. But now all they got is the manga. They don't have the anime anymore. I mean, the anime is, remember at the end of the anime, I guess Alita and Ito, put that whatever was in that box. I can't remember. Was it Hugo's hand or something?
I think it was his arm that was
his arm. Yeah, that's right. And they put a balloon and kind of let it go up. And kind of like a little ceremony, I guess. And that was the end of it. So in a way, it was kind of similar to the end of the movie, where her loss of Hugo is kind of a fitting end to the movie, as it would be in the anime. but now they got to rely on the manga.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the impression I got from the notes that were on that one website, Cameron basically had sort of altered the storyline without necessarily, you know, getting away from the spirit of the story.
Yeah.
So, like I was mentioning before, I think all that would happen in the second movie is Motorball is just going to become her path to completing her mission.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she had the motive of just simply trying to distance herself from the pain of losing Hugo in the manga, but in the movie,
Yeah.
it could be a combination of she's trying to distance herself from that, and which is why she stops wearing the berserker maybe, and stays in the motorball body, and also it's focusing on the mission of getting to this enemy that killed the man she loved and has been causing so much suffering in the city.
Yeah. So she's got a double reason to take care of his ass.
And you could have the thing where, like what Chaos was talking about, perhaps Nova's son turns out to hold the key to some sort of technology that Destiny wants to get his hands on. And so when she
what I was thinking of is that to get to Jeru, he would need the Excalibur code, but he finds out, oh, my kid has the code or the completion of it. You got to remember that he was using his kid to get to Zalm in the manga too.
No, okay.
Well,
go ahead, Lord
well,
Crit.
I was gonna say, well, that's kind of what I feel like they're gonna do. Is she's so focused on getting revenge that she honestly only hurts herself more because, you know, Destiny Nova uses that for his advantage. He manages to get her berserker. He manages to do the Zapan stuff. He, her relationship with Ito, all because she wants to get at Nova. I'm interested how they're gonna do like Nova. Are they gonna be like, haha, I was here the whole time?
He smiles at the end as if he recognizes who it is.
Yeah, that's right. Well, he does say.
I think it's possible he might come visit himself.
Well, it's not only that, Chaos, too. Remember when she was confronting Vector? Vector says, well, my girl, you have really exceeded my expectations. He calls her my girl. So you got the feeling, you know, Vector, Nova
there's some familiarity there.
Yeah, that's right. Nova knows her, you know. So, yeah, very interesting there. That's a good thought. Yeah. You know, here's another thing that you guys maybe think of too. Remember, Lita Calligridis said that in one of the versions of the script that they had written, they actually were going to bring Chaos into the movie. You know, when she went to the ship because they went out to the Badlands, and I guess they decided no, that's a little too much. You know, to introduce another character in a 2-hour movie and kind of go through that. You know. But in a 3-hour movie, they could have done that. You know, they could have introduced Chaos right there because she did go to the ship. She was in the Badlands, you know. So they could have, that would have been a perfect, you know, vehicle for him to get into the movie, you know, at that point, and an extended version of the movie, not the current movie. But
that's the thing that could still happen. I mean, if she did do a second trip out there, that could be the one when she stumbles across him or her.
Yeah. And maybe he's there too for some reason, or maybe she encounters him on her way to the ship or something like that.
Yeah.
You know.
The Are You the Wolfman moment, maybe? Like, are you
yeah.
I'm talking about American Graffiti when he asks the DJ if it's him. It's pretty funny, but the DJ just tries to pretend like he isn't.
Well, you know, I thought another thing too.
Saying,
oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, you're breaking up there, Chaos. We're getting some harmonics there on your mic. Anyway, another thing I thought, if she had Hugo's cycle, yeah, you're breaking up real bad. If she had Hugo's gyro cycle, maybe he's got a radio on it or something, and she picks up Radio Chaos, and what the hell is this, you know? And then just kind of figures out where it is, you know. She could have done that here too on her trip, her second trip, you know, the ship, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Because you don't really have a feel for how long in the movie. You don't have a feel for how far they drove or whatever. In the novelization, you get this idea that it was like a full day trip, almost, So they had to have driven quite a ways, maybe 150 miles or something like that, or
Right.
Certainly a good distance, at least. Yeah.
250 kilometers, Angelus. So, they could have done something like that. I mean, it could have been that kind of a distance, and that, maybe she encounters him, on that trip. So anyway, it'd be neat to see Alita's apartment, though. I mean, in the manga, her apartment's a mess. It's got all kinds of crap in it, or maybe she gets Hugo's apartment.
I'm not sure she would do that. I kind of like the way that Maxie did the
I'll get the link for the excerpt of what Lady Kaylee Gridis is talking about.
But yeah, Maxie had the take in his fanfic. I liked that she found it very painful when she went back
to go into it. Yeah. Brought back too many memories. Yeah, that's right. Okay. We've talked about this on other streams, of both this one and the Radio Chaos stream. Her singing. Now, once again, this would be in the same area like Lord Crit brought up a while ago, that this would take away from the ending, Hugo's sacrifice and all this, but in an extended version of the movie, maybe they could have pulled some. Oh, Chaos got kicked out there. I did not kick you out, Chaos.
No, you didn't. My battery went dead.
Okay.
Generator.
Yeah. But anyway, it'd be kind of neat to see Alita sing. And I know I've heard Rosa sing, she had a couple of clips on YouTube. She can sing,
What song? Cyborg Mermaid or Rusty Angel?
Well, she sang that Dua Lipa song, Swan Song. She sang some of that in a short, it was just a few bars, I guess, but she sounded pretty good, Yeah, I think she could sing, but that'd be kind of neat to see Alita not just sing, but play instruments. Like on the left there out of the manga, what would be interesting about this, that in the movie they could, who knows, maybe they could do a very brief, her learning how to play a synthesizer and a keyboard or something like that, They could do that'd be kind of cool, maybe setting it up either in her apartment or in Ito's house, or his clinic, or the living quarters in his clinic, and maybe just a little bit about her learning how to play. Now, once again, this is going to take away from the movie if the way they got it set up now. They would have to have a different flow to it, But I know one thing in the sequel we want to see her singing. I think this would work perfect in the sequel, but that, who knows, maybe they could have done something like this. I think, in the Kansas bar, when she started that fight, and Grisha comes in there and puts a big hole in the floor, I don't think the bartender is going to be too happy to see her come back into the bar.
Unless she ends up doing it at one point, turning out to be so good that maybe enough of the patrons like it, she offers to do it to help him sort of make up for the damage Grishka did or something like that. Maybe she finds she likes doing it and she does to help him out maybe a little bit or something.
Yeah, because she would have that kind of a drive, wouldn't she? I mean, she would definitely want to, I think she would feel bad, about what happened to the bar, I think, and she would want to do something like this. Probably.
Well, doing something she enjoys and being able to help out somebody doing it while she enjoys doing it.
Yeah.
Could be a couple of driving factors, maybe. Yeah.
And she'd have a lot on her plate because she'd be not only a pro motorball player and a hunter warrior, but now she's doing this at night. So be like 3 jobs. So,
yep.
Of course, some people today have 3 jobs, I guess. So,
Mm-hmm.
Well, what kind of songs would she sing? Anybody got any ideas about that?
Construct.
Oh, that's a good question.
AC/DC.
I keep wanting to say Rage Against the Machine just because I think it's funny to hear a cyborg singing from songs from a band called Rage Against the Machine.
Do you reckon that if 300 years in the future, they're going to know any of the songs we do now?
I have no, especially after a huge war that wiped out most of the human race.
Yeah. You know, probably Ito would be knowledgeable of it. Okay.
Somewhat, at least, yeah.
Let me copy this down. Chaos has got a good link here. I want to copy it down and put it in the chat.
With the feel of Rodriguez, I don't know. Maybe she would sing Big Generator.
Yeah.
Because it's so campy. I can just imagine it. With a Junkie XL or a Tom Hulkenberg remix.
Or maybe sing that, God, what's the name of the band that I'm thinking of? Pink Floyd song, Money. Yeah, something like that. Oh, my connection's screwing up, it looks like. Can you guys hear me okay?
I can.
Okay, yeah, I got a message here that having trouble connecting, it seems like. Oh, okay. Well, I guess it didn't like, let me just see if I can put this link back in here. So I'll just take the.
Did you guys talk about John Landau and that he's been talking with the crew the last few weeks about the sequel?
No, we have.
Tomorrow we will be.
Yeah, we're going to bring that up on Radio Chaos tomorrow.
All right, I'll have to listen in.
Oh yeah, it's and we've kind of changed up, haven't we, Angelus? It's just going to be a news stream tomorrow, isn't it?
Oh, that was more of a like a, what's the word for it? A satirical take, but there's so much juicy news that like it could natural progression would probably make it end up having the news section longer than the main topic section.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, we're going to talk.
Best way to put it, I guess, because
yeah, we're
a lot of the news articles can sort of interlink, I guess, interpose, or whatever the word is, with the main topic itself, or rather, a lot of the news section can be considered as part of the main topic. So it's, however you want to look at it.
Yeah, is that mostly on Twitter? We saw that because I haven't been on Twitter that much this week. So
is an interview.
Mostly on Twitter, where we found out, or most of us first found out about it.
Okay.
There's a YouTube video, there's a news article, that sort of thing.
Cool.
But yeah, we've definitely in all the various social circles, all the various social media, even various DM groups, Discord groups, etc. It's if you're Alita Army, it's pretty much on everyone's lips. I'm not saying that implying anyone is or isn't, but anyone that's a fan of Alita or the source material or James Cameron or stuff like that has been talking about this. So
okay, see, I haven't been on social media that much this week, so I've missed it. So boy, that's going to be interesting. Is that going to pop up when I do the This Week in Alita Battle Angel, when I do that little segment? Or is that something you're going to cover?
Most likely, yes.
Okay, cool. Well, you're going to cover it anyway, right, in the news. So yeah, that'll be good. So anyway, yeah, that's we haven't, Lord Crit. We have not talked about. Now we have talked about, Landau, Cameron, and Rodriguez wanting a sequel. We've talked about that 2 or 3 times, on the both
3 days
streams.
ago, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, this is kind of yeah, but this is different because it feels like feel like they're doing preliminary discussions. It's not greenlit yet, but it's probably. I think there we might get an announcement maybe, but it's these things take time clearly.
Yeah. Well, probably by the summer. We'll probably get it by the summer then.
An answer? Yeah.
Yeah, I think possibly, yeah. So anyway, yeah, we're going to cover that tomorrow, I guess, on Radio Chaos. So yeah, kind of be on the lookout for that. Anything else about Alita entertaining in the Kansas bar? She will definitely be in her civilian body in this one. So, well, or she could be in her not berserker. She could be in her motorball body in this one. Yeah, that's right.
I was just testing out that theory, and well, look who I managed to see. Paul and Crit review of Alita Battle Angel.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
And yes, it's the one in the same Lord.
Oh yes, yes. Last night I told my friend, "You ever seen Alita Battle Angel?" He's like, "No." And he the thing with him is he hasn't seen a lot of entertainment because he grew up in a kind of a Christian. Well, he just wasn't interested, so he's never seen all these movies. He's never seen. Well, he has seen Predator now, but he's never seen, Die Hard or other than Star Wars.
Think of it as mainstream pop culture. I'm taking.
Yes, mainstream. Although some of his opinions on classics, like maybe insult. I mean, he doesn't like the movie Predator, which hurt my brain. But
yeah, really.
He has that as bottom of his list. I can't. Yeah, along with the Matrix films.
It happens. I mean, when I was like 12, I liked Star Wars movies a lot, but my father didn't care for it. It's how it is sometimes.
Yeah, not everybody likes everything, so you can't expect.
Yeah, and that's fair.
That's fair. Yeah,
and he's also been on Doomcock's panel, and Doomcock just loses his mind when he sees that list of. He makes a list of movie that and he's just seen Matrix and Predator, but we watched Alita last night, and he's like, "You want to do a stream on it?" And this was late at night for him. I'm like, sure. He ended up giving it a 10 out of 10, and he told me he put it somewhere on the top of his list. It might be at the top. I don't know.
Oh wow, nice.
You'll have to watch the video to find out.
So are you going to do a stream on it, Lord Crit?
Well, we did the stream again. I told him that we might do a watch party, and I did mention you guys. I did mention Creek. I did mention Creek during that review.
Oh boy.
But if we might do a watch party. I was telling him the anime has no copyright on it, so it's safe to watch as a watch party.
It's just not enforced.
Yeah, that's right. They'll let you. I know. I do the watch parties on it.
I'm in the partner program, and there's just plenty of times that they ask me if I'm going to do a copyright strike, because there's some things I did first, and some of it's just ridiculous. I mean, they literally asked me, like, okay, there's this intro sequence in a video game. No, everyone who plays that game on YouTube Live has that same sequence. That's not a copyright thing from me.
Yeah. Well, but and I'm not in the partner program, but I'm going to be here pretty soon. But I think, one of the things about copyright is that, they will let you put some copyright on it, but it's under certain conditions. Like, for instance, if you're going to put a copyright for a movie in there and you're using the soundtrack and stuff like that, you got to do something like do some commentary on it.
Right. You have to change. You have to do something with it, or you do something with like Fruity Loops or GarageBand. That music becomes original, and it's yours.
Yeah, and you can put like.
I'm just saying it's annoying. It's annoying how much they ask me if I want to put a copyright strike on something when a lot of it isn't something I would do that for. Like, it would just be a dick move to do it.
Yeah, but the anime
hurts much, but it's how frustrated I am.
Well, the anime is I do get copyright claims when I play it, but that's okay. They won't strike you on that. It just says, hey, the owner's allowing you to play this on YouTube. That's all it says when when you see that. And there
Right.
is, yeah.
But
they
I'm
don't.
just saying, as a partner, they ask me all these things. Do you want a copyright strike? And I just keep having to say no, and it's just this long line. I'm just like, this is not a copyright issue. I mean, this video game or this thing is going to be just used by everybody. So just stop asking me.
I recently joined the partner program, and my only annoyances is some video games, music. Like I'm playing a Force Unleashed, and I can't. I feel like I can't monetize it at first because I know it's going to copyright some of that Star Wars music they put in the game.
Yeah.
The Alita Gundam game, surprisingly, is pretty fine with the cop.
That's because very few people play it.
Yeah.
No one really cares. I mean,
yes, I know. Yeah.
And most of the views are either me or several other people.
Oh wow!
It's only the Japanese release.
Oh, my friend Master Paul, I mentioned, and now he wants on the panel. So
okay. Well, cool. Well, let me know when you do a watch party. I'll at least get in the chat, because I don't mind watching Alita at all. So welcome the Star Wars guys. Anyway, welcome. And it looks like here we go.
Hi.
Hey.
Hello.
Hey,
Well,
that's a familiar face.
Yeah.
Because I've seen you on the YouTube thingo.
Yeah.
Which
Thank
Ricky
you.
will put up as a shared screen in just a second.
Hello there.
Well, yeah, I'm glad to finally meet you guys, and I'm glad that you guys checked out my Alita review that I did with Crit last night.
Oh, we're glad you checked out Alita.
Yeah, man. Like I was telling Crit, I saw the trailers when it first came out, and it looked like an interesting enough concept, but it wasn't quite enough to really get me in the theaters. Plus, I believe I was busy at my job at the jail at the time, so I had no time to go see it. But I'm glad I've seen it now.
Well, you had the same reaction to it that I had about 3 years ago when I saw the trailers. But my reaction was, I don't really want to watch a teenage girl beat up on cyborgs and androids and robots and stuff like that. It doesn't interest me. And then one day I was on a business trip. I've told this story a couple of times, it was during just at the very beginning of COVID, so I didn't really want to go out. Plus I'd been to this one particular city many times, and I said, I've already seen a lot there. And I said, and I was going through the channels, in the hotel room, and I happened upon Alita Battle Angel, on HBO, and I said, well, I got nothing better to do. I guess I'll give this a shot, And 5 minutes in, I was hooked.
Nice.
It was. I mean, and especially particularly that opening sequence, where she opens her eyes. I went, oh my God, that's pretty. That's kind of my reaction. I don't remember my exact words, but when she really hooked me, when she jammed her hand in Gerwishka's eyes, and we got the fuck your mercy thing, I went, oh my God, I literally stood up like, oh my God, like that.
That was such an amazing fight.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. That thing right there. That thing that just blew me away. And I loved it so much that 2 nights later it came back on HBO and I watched it again. So I've seen it like 60 times, which is kind of lightweight for most of the elite army. Most of these folks have seen it like 100 times,
So I decided to go back to my AMC history because it saves your history. I guess I better show how many times I went to go see Alita.
Yeah.
The 14th, the 16th, the 18th, the 22nd. I saw it. Oh, wait. I saw it twice.
Twice on that day. Yeah, cool.
Wow.
Yes. Nice. Angela, so you want to share your screen? I see you got that up there.
Oh, as we're talking, yeah.
Okay.
Because So yeah, Creaky will explain it in the Radio Chaos stream tomorrow. But you got your Alita Battle Angel full movie, or dash full and dash full movie, usual filters.
Yeah.
And then as we were scrolling through, obviously, and this is obviously
cool.
I need to make a thumbnail
add 24
for that.
hours. Yeah, add 24 hours onto that because obviously this will be done again tomorrow. So everything that's like 1 day will be 2, everything 2 days will be 3, etc.
Yeah, we
But
kind of.
obviously there's.
Yeah, go ahead, Angel. Sorry.
There's Paul and Crit's review there.
Nice.
And then scrolling all the way further down, that's 4 days.
Well,
and
I'll
that's
make
the
sure.
video I was talking about, and that Lord Crit was referring to. So that 3 days will be 4, but it's by Kirsten Acuna, and oh wow, 1.4K views already.
Yeah, in 3 days, nice.
And obviously that we'll cover that in the news.
Yeah, yeah, what we do, Master Paul, is we do a this week in Alita Battle Angel, kind of like what you saw there with what Angelus put up there. And we just show everything that's come up on Alita Battle Angel, been uploaded or streamed in the past week. That way people can know there's new content, and I will spend a little extra time on that Star Wars guys video you guys did, so that review. So we'll chat a little bit about that when we get to it. So,
okay.
Yeah. Cool.
And I got to say, I love the Thunderstruck pun that they've included here.
Yeah, Destiny Nova out in the chat asked who actually colored that, and our friend KranberriJam actually colored it. She did it for Maxie, didn't she, Angelus? I can't remember now. I think I can't remember if she did it for Maxie or she just did it on her own or what. But I'll have to ask her. I'm going to see her next week, so. Yeah, when I go back to North Carolina, I'm going to see her and Rido both. So
I was just going to quickly say, you struck fandom gold when you encounter a fandom that can, what they call, take the Mickey out of themselves better than even the haters can. And that's something that everything, everywhere, all at once, pun intended.
Yeah.
Is that an Australian saying, taking the Mickey out of it?
Well, I would say this about the Alita fandom: it's always unified. There's no discourse compared to Star Wars.
Oh, we have our moments, where we get into little discussions, I guess. But we're all united. I like this. Many have agreed with me on this, is that the Alita Army is like an extended family, is what we are, and we may have different political persuasions, different religions, we're in different countries for sure, but
we're all here for our girl.
Yeah, we're all here for our girl, and we tolerate each other at the very least, but we all, it's not a problem for any of us, so.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'd probably go even further and say that you might find the extremely rare instances where you have two people that just don't like each other. Yeah. Again, that's just a fact of life. But when it comes to, if they're both, fandom, whether like they're hardcore or just casual fans, if they consider themselves a Alita Army, all that stuff gets checked at the door, sort of thing, when it comes to Alita.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yeah. Yeah, it does. Yeah, I wish we could get our buddy Den back on, or now it's Ox King, I guess, get him back on at some point. So
I gotta ask, since I'm new to this whole thing, how long has this Alita Army been going? Since the movie? Since before the movie? Like, basically, what's y'all's story?
Well, I came on a year after the Alita Army started, and I think Angelus came on like 6 months or 8 months after that. But it started, I think, in March of 2019. Mm-hmm. So that's when they.
It wasn't too long after the movie came out.
Yeah, that's right.
And then we did that embarrassing Alita challenge. That's the only thing I.
Alita challenge.
Well,
What is this?
There's some things I think our fandom, All right, so Master Paul, that was the Alita was good, but that was the year of Avengers Endgame. Remember? As much as I love Alita and I saw it, Avengers was more important to a lot of people.
Yeah, it was hard.
There was a little movie called Captain Marvel that people were going to see because of Avengers. The Alita fandom, the Alita army decided, hey, you should take the Alita challenge. See Alita more than you ever go see Captain Marvel and try to win the box office. And
I got the impression that was actually more from some other third parties that were doing that.
Yeah.
So what was the idea? To go see the movie enough to elevate its box office above Captain Marvel?
Now this is the first time I've heard this because
it was a fan campaign on Twitter. And then there were dumb news articles that were trying to say the Alita challenge was run by, I would say
right extremists or something like that.
Yes, exactly. It was stupid. And Captain Marvel is a boring movie. I'd rather watch
I still
Alita.
ain't seen it.
But I know why it was successful. It was because of Avengers Endgame. No one cared about Captain Marvel, let's be honest. We thought it connected to Endgame in some way, and it kind of did. She wasn't really important in that movie, but the Alita challenge is a blight on the fandom.
The only Alita challenge I had remembered, because this first I've heard this, Lord Crit, because I came in the Alita army about a year afterwards, but it's that challenge where we would bite out of the orange and then send a photo of it, tweet that out. I never did that.
That's just an amazing scene when she does that. Like, here, eat this, and she eats it in the most wrong way, not knowing any better.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it was kind of hilarious there, right? But oh God, what she did? What is this? So,
well, I like to think of it. I'd like to call it growing pains, but again, as I inferred earlier, every fandom's got that one, and I guess, whether because we were small enough or whether we were smart enough, take your pick. There's probably a multitude of other reasons as well. We managed to circumnavigate that, and and this is all hearsay on my point of view because I wasn't around at that stage. But from what I learned in Alita history class or Alita Army history class, is that those that were, I guess, some of the main instigators just grew bored and moved on to different things. And then,
I would call them inactive members. I mean, you still see them on some of the the chat groups and stuff like that on Twitter, and they still, I think they still like Alita, but they're not as diehard, or they're not hardcore like some of us, So, but they're still there. They just not into it like we are, I guess.
Well, even if I wasn't involved, give me like a corny diehard fan over someone like that. Who just wants to, metaphorically speaking, who just wants to see the world burn, sort of thing.
Well, I will say one thing too about the Alita Army is that we like to be known as the friendliest fandom, on social media. We're not as toxic as some other fandoms, Now, I was in the Star Trek fandom for a while, and still like Star Trek, but it wasn't as toxic as some of the others. I mean, I've seen some tweets from some of these other fandoms. You go, holy crap, guy!
I mean, look at where Star Wars is right now with Mando season 3.
Me and Paul do Tuesday night Trek But no, Star Trek is. Oh man, don't get me
Yeah.
started on Star Trek.
Well, I'm not in that fandom now, but I mean, I do like the original series and all that. And
Of
I went to a Star Trek convention once, and it was fun, you know, and stuff like that. But this fandom to me, the Alita army, to me is much more positive. It's you know, the people, you know, regardless of whatever belief system they have or their politics or, you know, their sensibilities or whatever you want to say, we are all united in this one thing, you know, is we want a sequel.
Yeah.
And when we get along, you know, and I know I've said on my stream here several times, and even on the Radio Chaos stream, is that I don't want just a sequel. I want a sequel. I want at least a trilogy and more, and I want a series. I want both a live action and an anime series, and I want merch, and I want games. In other words, I want an Alita universe.
Yeah,
that's what I want.
This would make an amazing game series, especially with Alita's martial arts skill, both with and without that sword.
Mm-hmm.
It'd make a great game to play through, like a Batman Arkham style thing.
Mm-hmm. Well, there is that Mars Chronicles game. I know Chaos plays it. He had to leave, but you know, I watched some of his. He uploads just, you know, he captures that particular video he's playing the game, and then he uploads it, you know, and it's really fun watching him do it. And what's really interesting to me is he plays that game in the Japanese version, and I don't know how the hell he figures out which weapon to get or which power up to use or whatever. But he's able to play that game, you know, effectively. You know,
does he play the translated version? That's the one I've been streaming.
Yeah, no, he's doing the native Japanese, I think.
Yeah, the native.
And
Japanese.
Does he play on easy mode?
There is no ezy mode for that game. Yeah. We did not play on easy mode.
That's an inside joke with me and Crit.
No,
well, I know I downloaded that game, and I also downloaded an emulator on my other computer here, but I haven't played it yet. So
I'd love to see somebody do a total conversion mod for, like, say, I don't know, Cyberpunk 2077 that turns it into that game, an Alita Martian memory game.
Funny you should mention that, Lee, because right now I've downloaded here few weeks ago, I downloaded Unreal Engine 5, and I've started working on it, and it is a steep learning curve on that thing. But
wow.
I have a feeling you're going to have a lot of work.
Yeah, that's right. But I do have a simple level right now. I don't have a lot in it except just the terrain, you know. And I have a character in it that doesn't have any skin on it. But, you know, I'm getting there slow but sure, you know. So my plan is to do some kind of Alita thing with that, you know, eventually. You know? So, yeah.
Well, someone did manage to recreate the look of Alita using various armor pieces and cyberware. So,
yeah.
It is up on YouTube somewhere.
Yeah.
I think I saw that, actually, yeah.
And basically it's like they did some editing as well, because it was a scene where basically one of the big bosses was just, no pun intended, smashed by V, and he's just kneeling there in pieces. For those that have played the game will know who I'm referring to. And opposite facing that character is the V that's basically redesigned as Alita, like right down to the bodysuit, the hair, the hair, not necessarily the blood markings, although I think they managed to make the facial cyberware look pretty close, and how they did it, I don't know. It's bloody amazing. Like,
did they use Unreal Engine 5 there, or did they use Unity, or what?
Just use the actual game itself.
Oh, okay.
To design a character that looks like Alita. It's quite amazing.
Wow.
I think they made Alita and Daz 3D.
Oh wow.
There's some good Alita out there.
Yeah.
I tried doing Alita on the Stable
Here we go.
Diffusion I wasn't getting good results. So
yeah. And I gotta mention also, as a first timer, just how good Alita looked in the movie. Like Crit and I were talking about this as both in my review and as we were watching it. Aside from the size of her eyes, if you told me that that really was a person, I would almost believe you. The CGI was that good.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember seeing this, Angelus. There's a Damascus blade. I love it.
Yeah.
Nice.
So yeah, they basically used the game and recreated the look of Alita, because that like one of the Netrunner suits. And like I said, they used various type of wares to get like the rest of the look with the rest of the character. But anyway, I'll stop that so we don't get yeeted.
Well, we won't. long as we don't play the music or any music that's copyrighted, we don't get yeeted. Yeah. Although I've played some copyright in the early days of my stream here, or our stream. Mine, Angelus and I do this stream. In the early days, I did put some of the Junkie XL stuff on there, and I got copyright claims on it, but they didn't strike me, So of course I'm not in the partner program anyway, so I don't know if they'd strike me. They just
you could still use copyrighted music. You just wouldn't get money from it, even if you're in the partner program.
Yeah. Well, I did apply for the partner program here about 2 weeks ago, and they said I had too much copyright on mine. So anyway, I'm in the process of now removing some of the lower views videos, that I have, and keeping just the non-copyrighted stuff. So, and any copyrighted stuff I put on now, like it from the movie, I'll have captions, that explain it and stuff like that. So anyway, that's another story. Okay.
There are two Junkie XL songs that have no copyright on it. There's the Alita Strings version and the Ito theme. Because he used those in his you could use those in your videos.
You mean the what is it? What is something about
and he was showing his samples. He didn't copyright those, so and I like the Ito theme a lot, so I use it a lot in my stuff.
Yeah. Cool. Well, I think you can use copyright music though, as long as you either narrate over it or you put some kind of explanatory captions and stuff like that, where it's
turn it down, like very down.
Yeah. And I think even you can do voiceover, like you could take like Rose's voice and maybe find an AI that's pretty close, or something like that. You can do that kind of stuff to it, I guess, and they won't zap you. Although I've never had any problem with Rose's voice getting copyrighted, so getting the copyright claim on that. So it's just music normally is what I get copyright claims on. So anyway, guys, I guess we've been going a little over 2 hours here. So and of course, this coming back to the original topic, what if Alita was a 3-hour movie? These are some of the things we talked about, and I guess Lee and Chaos also brought up the fact that we'd like to see some more character development of Hugo, of Ito, and Grishka and Nova, even Zapan, some of that, even in Gerhard, some of that stuff. And then, of course, what you see on the screen there, if it was a 3-hour movie. Now, as Lord Crit pointed out, some of this stuff, if it would have been put in an extended movie, it would have destroyed the overall, I guess you would say, the focal point at the end of the movie, where it's all about, Hugo's sacrifice and Alita losing, losing the man she loves, and that would have been true, so that's probably one reason they didn't, try that in any way. So anyway, Master Paul, you were going to say something.
Yeah. As far as the anything else section, there is one thing, if the movie not even had to be 3 hours long, but just one thing I would have done differently, I would have ended the movie at the end of her final motorball match as final champion, and she wins. and then she's going to Zalem and basically just end it there instead of cutting it right before the match starts.
Well, that particular match that she was going at the end of the movie, that was going to be her first match in the Champions League. And what we were saying, what we were saying here is, you see that third bullet, that if they were going to go beyond her losing Hugo, what they could put in there was her playing maybe a few matches, maybe struggling at first, and then winning, being an underdog or something, and winning the second league championship, and then going to the Champions League. But probably what's going to happen here is that particular bullet is probably going to be in the sequel. Right. So, that's probably what they'll do. But if they were going to extend the movie, they could have put, some of this stuff in there like that.
To keep it as self-contained, what I would have done is I would have kept the anime ending with where you didn't see this, Paul, but in the ending of the anime, they put Hugo's arm and Shirin's earring in the box, and they let it float in a balloon towards Zalem, and it's kind of it's a sunset, and that's the end of the movie.
They could have done they could have done something like that. Yeah.
Cameron clearly wanted a sequel though, so they went with the ending we have now. So
yeah, that's right.
Right.
Okay, guys. So well, I guess that's pretty much it. I can't think of anything else unless some of y'all can think of something, I guess.
Yeah, nothing off the top of my head.
Other than the fact that it was nice to come on here and talk with you guys for the first time. And I by the way, did make sure to like and subscribe on my way in.
Oh, I appreciate that.
So you guys should follow my example.
I will. Yep. What's your YouTube?
Oh, I was talking about to your viewers. Subscribe to this channel that we're on now.
Yeah.
But my channel is the Star Wars guys. I popped in and said hello there. So that
Fandomology.
I will.
Don't talk about Fandomology, Chris. But
well, what I'll do, Master Paul, as soon as we get off the stream here, I will go to your YouTube channel and I will like and subscribe.
Thank you very much. Yeah. I do have a second channel, by the way, that is Master Paul's Music and Games. That's basically where I do all my stuff with my guitar and where I do gaming streams.
Do a song about Alita.
I'm gonna need some time for that one.
Yeah, I got a second channel myself, but it's about powerlifting. So anyway, nobody here is going to be interested in that. So
I gotcha.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, well, as you can see there, Alita does love her Uncle Creek. That's another thing, Lord Crit and Master Paul, you may not know that the rumor that the Creek probably started himself is that Alita's my niece. So anyway.
I could believe that.
Yes. So anyway, yeah, she loves her Uncle Creek and she loves the Alita Army too. So, that's a good thing. Yeah. And of course, this is our queen right here, Rosa. She's the one that made Alita come to life, man. I mean, I tell you, in my book, she is a great actor, and she's number one in the Creeks book in that category right there. And as I always say every week, it sure don't hurt that she's pretty. So anyway, that's the way that works out. And of course, I like to also do shout outs to Elle Lamont and Jesse Fisher. Elle Lamont was Screwhead in that movie, and
nice.
Jesse Fisher was her stunt woman. So, we've had them on the Radio Chaos stream, interviewed them, and they were really, both of them were really a delight. Elle stayed on the whole stream with us. She asked us, we asked her how much time, would she wanted to spend with us. And she said, well, as long as you guys want to hang out with me. And of course we all laughed, said, oh, this is going to be a long stream.
Nice.
So anyway, and I think Angela said, oh, you better be careful with that one. So anyway, but she was great, man. She stuck with us the whole time. And that stream went 3 hours and she stayed with us the whole time. Now, Jesse Well, how long did she stay with us, Angelus? It was about an hour, wasn't it? She had to leave though, so she had something else to do. So, but they were both great on the stream, and you know, they're all three of these ladies right here are the Creek's celebrity crushes. That's what they are. So
Nice.
yeah. Okay, so any final thoughts there, Lee?
Not really, no.
Cool. Any final thoughts, Angelus?
Ooh.
Yeah, I knew that was coming. So anyway, yeah, Rosa, Jesse, and Elle all have ooh, that's for sure, and Alita definitely has ooh. So there you have it. Lord Crit, any final thoughts?
I do not stand by in the presence of thirst.
Yes, I hear you. It's Miller time. Although I don't like Miller beer, that's not my thing. So anyway, Master Paul, thanks for joining us. Any last thoughts?
Nothing beyond just again, thank you for having me.
Cool. Yeah, glad to have you on, man. And like I say, anybody's welcome to come on the stream. We certainly put a link in the chat, you know, for you to jump on and talk about Alita or any other thing else that's Alita related. We're not stuck to the primary topic here. You know, we're a little more disorganized than Radio Chaos is. So
Nice.
yeah. Anyway, you want to talk about? Are you going to be the host tomorrow, Angelus?
I think Maxie will, but I'll definitely be there. Okay,
yeah. So we're going to talk about that period of time when Alita, you know, we're going to, you know, talk about, certainly we're talking about the period of time when Alita, you know, actually starts the tuned program. But in this particular case, we're going to talk about, you know, what Disney's doing here. What's the big, you know, what's the deal, you know, and of course, you know, some of these videos that have come up this week, I guess what's going to help us, you know, chat about it even more. Isn't that the kind of the thing we're doing there, Angelus, as far as you can tell?
At the moment, yeah.
Okay.
It's basically it's just ironic that the few news items that we already have lined up,
yeah,
just run parallel with the actual main topic so succinctly that like you can just meld the entire stream into one.
Yeah, and I think Star of Alien's going to be he's going to be the stream manager tomorrow. It'll be my turn next week. So anyway, so join us for Radio Chaos tomorrow. That's going to be, man, we got some great news too. You know, it looks like things are starting to go our way, and we're certainly happy about that for sure, you know. Okay, so anyway, just to wrap things up, of course, why is this image here? Well, that image is there because the Creek likes it and he's running the stream. And to paraphrase Grishka, I'm only here for our girl and the Alita Army. And of course, all of us in the Alita Army are only here for our girl. And that's just the fact of life. So anyway, if there's no final thoughts, I guess it's time for us to do the call to action. And that would be on my count of 3. And that would be 1, 2.
Hold on. What is this call to action?
We're going to say, you see what's in the word bubble there?
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I got it.
Okay. So anyway, on my count of 3, 1, 2, 3.
Film those
sequels,
baby. All right, so we'll see you next week on the Alita live stream, and we will see you tomorrow on Radio Chaos.
Take care, guys.
Bye.
What's up, Alita Army? This is Hot Toys Alita, and I hope you enjoyed this week's Alita live stream. Please join my Uncle Creek, Angelus, and our other guests for next week's show. Remember, I do not stand by in the presence of evil, and film those sequels, baby. See you next time.